Good morning, everyone. I apologize for having to speak and run. They told me 9:30, and I have something at 10. So I'll do my quick thing, and then you can move on with the program. First, I want to welcome everybody from the state. We've got Ray Zawacki, we've got Frank Quadrino, we've got Yves Molina, we've got Joe Brandspiegel. It seems every time we have these veterans forums, the entire state veterans effort all comes together to come out to Woodbridge Township. So thank you, all of you, for being here.
Best town around.
Is that?
It's the best town around.
Best town. I even forgot to say that. Duffy's correcting me. I want to thank John Eberhardt, who shortly after I became mayor in November of 2006, I said we have to restart the Veterans Alliance. He took that up and said absolutely. And then when he retired as our recreation director, I said, you can retire all you want, but you're sticking around for the Veterans Alliance and you're sticking around for Buddy Ball, which are his two passions. So even though he is retired, he spends a lot of time still with the town on those two very, very important functions. I also want to thank Jack McGreevy, one of our favorite veterans, and he's not even from town. He lives in Carteret, but we're his adopted town. Of course, his son was mayor here for just a tad over 10 years. I want to thank Stu Brando, one of our favorite veterans also. These two guys are staples. Every time there's something with veterans in town hall, with the township, these two guys show up. Of course, we have all the commanders here from the different American Legion posts. We have the Reinhardt Detachment. We have Woodbridge American Legion. So many of you here. We are a town that very much cares about its veterans. This Veterans Forum is just one of the ways we show that by making available all of the resources that we can gather from the state, from the county, from the town, put it all in one place so you all can see exactly what services and programs are out there for you. Some people who can't be here can watch on TV and see everything. So we really love having this forum because it gives us an opportunity, as we said, to show what you have available to you. First, I want to talk about Dick Duffy. Dick and I go way back. We both are natives of Menlo Park Terrace, the great suburb of Woodbridge Township. My mom still lives there. Duff lived a block over and 2 streets down. 1 street over and 2 blocks down. I was actually the same grade as his daughter in kindergarten, grammar school, and high school, so I went to school with his daughter for 13 years. I won't admit to having a crush on her. I sort of did until I met her father. I saw the crew cut. I saw the military look. I saw the ruggedness and the discipline, and I said, no, thank you. So I moved on. But seriously, Duff's a guy I've known a long time. He was friends with my dad. Together they were Menlo Park Terrace Little League stalwarts. My father was the president. Were you president, just commissioners and all those different other things? So those 2 guys worked their way up and made the opportunities for us as kids to have baseball and softball. And he's getting a special proclamation today by the Joint Legislative Group of the 19th District, which is Senator Joe Vitale and Assemblyman Craig Coughlin and John Wisniewski. I won't read the proclamation, but I will read Duff's history. Well, Richard Francis Duffy joined the United States Marine Corps on March 19, 1952, during the Korean War. He was then sent to Parris Island for 90 days of boot camp, where he learned the basics of military life and was trained to become a sharpshooter. Another reason why I didn't date his daughter. He was later sent to Jacksonville, Florida for specialized training as an airman and as an aviation electrician. Upon completion, he was to serve with the Marine Air Wing in Korea for 13 months of service. The U.S. Marine Corps is unique in that it's the only branch of any nation's military that combines coordinated operational expertise in air, land, and sea combat. Corporal Duffy was awarded the National Defense Medal, Defense Service Medal, Korean Service Medal, United Nations Service Medal, and the Good Conduct Medal. He was recommended for reenlistment upon honorable discharge in 18 March 1955 from NAS, Brooklyn, New York. Dick Duffy, a great man, a great veteran, one of our best employees in Town Hall, and just a great all-around person. So, Duff, on behalf of everybody.
Thank you, John. Thank you very much.
Can I say a few words?
No. John says say a few words, but this township is the best town around because of what it does for its veterans. A week ago, we had a thing up in Evergreen, breakfast for the veterans. Outstanding. The Vitale and Coughlin, they all do so much for the veterans in this area. It's unbelievable. I just can't speak to it because I stutter, but I'm impressed and I'm very thankful. And John, God bless you.
Thanks, pal. We also have another proclamation from the Joint 19th District. For a guy I don't know quite as long as I do, Dick Duffy, but I guess I go back with Jimmy Broderick. I joined the Knights of Columbus in 1984. When Jim was Grand Knight, I worked very hard for him. I was actually his Knight of the Year. We got to know each other very well, even though we're slightly a few years apart in age. We became very, very good friends. And I think the world of Jim and what he's done for the Knights of Columbus, for the whole community of Woodbridge Township, and he's also a tremendous veteran. So let me read this history of Jim. James Francis Broderick Jr. served in the United States Navy Reserve for 19 months, and then perhaps because he became a little older and wiser, he elected to join the United States Marine Corps during the Civil War. After intense training at Parris Island Boot Camp, he was selected to go to Airman School in Jacksonville, Florida, followed by additional training at Memphis, Tennessee, to become an aviation machinist mate. With that, Marine Broderick was assigned to the 1st Marine Air Wing in Korea, where he served for 19 months. While there, our troops in Air Wing were busy proving to the communists that their army could not overrun a non-communist neighbor. The Marines once again proved to be an elite fighting force and held back the communists, and South Korea today is a free, world, prosperous nation thanks to our veterans. After returning to the States, Sergeant Broderick received his honorable discharge on 10 June 1956 at Marine Air Station, Willow Grove, Pennsylvania. Sergeant Broderick's concept of service is still very much alive, as he just completed 20 years of volunteering at Lions Veterans Hospital. Director Mizrak recently presented Broderick with the Continuing Care Champion for Veterans Affairs New Jersey Healthcare System. Ladies and gentlemen, Jim Broderick. He doesn't want to say anything. Smart man. Well, thank you again for the opportunity to go early. I wanted to just notice Vito Simaluka, our recreation director, who runs this fantastic facility here. We're undergoing a bit of a facelift. It's more like an extreme makeover. This place is great. We love hosting these things here. Mike Gasolda from Mariah's department. I already mentioned John Eberhardt. I mentioned everybody but Samantha Roth, who's our film person from TV 35. So thank you all for being out here.
I just want to mention to you that this week, Craig Coughlin of the 19th District was just dubbed to be the next Speaker of the Assembly, which makes him the 3rd most powerful political individual in the state of New Jersey. So let's hear it for Craig. Where is he? Hey, oh, he's right here.
How's this look?
What's that? Are you ready to make a few comments, sir?
I certainly am.
Way to go.
Say it's right. Good guy.
Let's hear it for Craig.
Thanks. Pardon? Okay, this microphone's only for television. It's not so that you can hear it. So thank you very much for the kind introduction, Jack. Thank you. It is really, it's a word that gets used a lot in politics about being humbling, but I got to tell you, it really is the word that works, because we have great challenges in the state of New Jersey, and to have your colleagues say that you're going to be one of the people who gets to lead the path to try and solve those is a really remarkably humbling experience. Somebody told me, I had an orientation back when I first got elected to the Assembly. They said, let me remind you, there's about 9 million people in the state of New Jersey. 121 of them get to make the rules, and you're one of them. Well, now I'm one of 3. And so with that comes an awesome responsibility. But thank you very much for that kind introduction, Jack. Thank you all for that warm welcome. And let me just take a second, because as most things in life, nothing happens without a lot of hard work. And I want to make sure that I thank Jack for all the hard work that he does each and every day. Let's give him a big round of applause. We wouldn't have events like this without him, and without his cohort, John Eberhardt, who's been a great friend and is a terrific leader. And I want to thank Doug Green from the county, who also helped make this day possible. So thank you very much, gentlemen. I want to make sure we don't lose focus about this. It's nice to be flattered. I was in Atlantic City. There was a convention last week, and I found out I was better looking and smarter than I was the day before I got elected. But let's not forget why we're here. And one of the things we're here to do is to honor 2 terrific guys, Jim Broderick and Dick Duffy, who have being noted for their service. Congratulations, gentlemen. Thank you very much for that. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you all. thank you all for coming out, and most importantly, thank you all for your service, for your commitment to something bigger and more important than yourselves, to this great nation, and to thank you for all of the things that you continue to do. I know an awful lot of you personally. I know you're still involved in making the community better. That's because of the same kind of commitment to service and to other people that you demonstrated by being willing to serve in the military. So we are all better because of you, and I mean that sincerely. We have a better country, we have a better community, and we're all better people for knowing you. So thank you all. God bless you all. Happy Thanksgiving. And so let's get on to having the forum, and thank you for letting me have a couple minutes of your time. Thank you very much.
I just want to tell Craig, the last guy I know who graduated St. John's University eventually became the governor of the state of New York. So it's something to think about long term.
All right. I'll move to New York.
Thank you so much, sir. Where's Mr. Eberhard?
Wait a minute, you know what? I forgot there's actually a really big shot in here. The former governor of the state of New Jersey is here, Jim McGreevey. I'm number 3, he was number 1. And the difference between 3 and 1 is about that big.
Is that Jimmy McGreevey in the back?
It sure is.
It's so unlike him. Get up here, McGreevey.
I know, move it.
Can you say hello to the crowd, please?
I just want to say congratulations to Craig. We got Broderick and Duffy. So you know that Senator Joe Vitale, his wife is about to give birth, and Joe couldn't be here. So you know why there are 2 Irishmen being honored, because if Vitale were here, we'd have to have a little more balance. But in any event, I just want to wish Joe and his wonderful wife Godspeed at this time. And John McCormick was here. A guy, in fact, he's here. He said, "Oh, Jim, thank you for doing the community center." I said, "No, McCormick is the brains. I was just the front." But I would say this: I'm going to talk to John. He's got to get this baseboard thing cleaned up here. This thing. It's being renovated. But in any event, I want to say thank you to the Mayor McCormick, and I want to say thank you to Craig, and I want to particularly say thank you to my dad and my dad's speechwriter, Sharon. Can we have a round of applause for Sharon? So there's a joke in our house, 2 jokes, and I'll be quick at this. Both deal with veterans. When they were building the World War II memorial across from the State House, my dad wanted a grunt with a gun. And the Department of Military Veterans Affairs said, you can't have a grunt, you have to have a woman with wings coming out of her back, and she was called Winged Victory. So every Christmas, every Thanksgiving, every Easter, I'd hear my dad say, "Why do we need the woman with the wings? Da-da-da, I want the grunt." Why do we need the woman with the wings? I want a grunt. So finally, one of the greatest things about resigning as governor, John Corzine got to hear that speech. So finally, we were at dinner one day. I said, "Dad, just give in. Just give in." The Department of Military Veterans Affairs, we all know the VA, we know bureaucracies. So the classic was Governor Byrne. I don't know if you remember, Dad. Governor Byrne gave the speech, God bless him, and he's 93 years old. He said 2 things. He said, "Jack, you know the stuff they'd put in our food so we wouldn't get so excited around girls? I think it's finally beginning to work." And then he said, "Who's the broad with the wings? I never saw her on the front lines." But in any event, so I just wanted to share that with my father, and I also want to say thank you to Sharon for all she does. But, as Craig said, we got all these big shots from the county and commanders and a lot of friends. It's one of the things, the areas of concern, and as Congress is debating health care and a lot of issues that, frankly, taxes that have a real impact on all of us in New Jersey in terms of deducting, or, I can go on and on. But veterans health care is so important. And whether it's a Democratic or Republican administration, veterans health care is critical. And the sad thing is, just candidly, a lot of our veterans don't make use of their prescription drug program. And Look at when a Navy guy shakes his head, yes, you know you got to be right. But you know, so we've got to do prescription drug, access to preventative health care, and the full range of veterans benefits as something as important as memorial and cemetery opportunities to veterans homes. So this is really important, and I want to thank. Of course, I want to thank Craig and the Senator and Joe because of all they do on healthcare. But I also want to thank the mayor for filming this because this is people have to use their benefits. And what happens is just my experience, right? And I deal with now in prison ministry, but I deal with a lot of guys, frankly, a lot of Vietnam vets that have come out and that have had problems. They want to access their benefits when they're in a crisis, right? But it's candidly, they're not registered. And so I deal with guys every day that have problems with hepatitis C. And all of a sudden they're trying to get the medication and I can't get them for them. And I'm like, did you register? And they look at me like I got, you know, yeah, thank you. What's your name? Yvonne, you got to come with me. But that's why we've got to do that. That's really important is registering, right? And I mean, I'm sure that you guys have given that speech, but that's why I appreciate this camera. So anyway, I've talked too long. You know, I know that, you know, this is a Woodbridge Township event because there are donuts and there are muffins. If it was a Jack McGreevy event, there'd be a pitcher of water. But in any event, and I want to thank you to my sister Sharon again. I want to thank you to all of you. Thank you for your service to this country. And I pray for this country, that we continue to do the right thing morally and ethically. And I want to say thank you to you for your service, and thank you to Jack McGreevy. Thank you. I'm gonna get it.
Give it to John.
All right, give it to John. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, John Eberhardt. You got to scream into it. And you got to give another round of applause for these guys.
Absolutely. Jim Broderick, Mike Duff.
Don't forget the Italian.
I know. When Vitale comes back, we'll get an honor ball.
I think the room's small enough where hopefully the voices can project. We're going to have our speakers now, and I'd like to introduce our first speaker, a good friend of mine, and also he gets top billing because he's Navy. Ray Zawacki. Ray? Ray, this is for TV, so.
Thank you, John, for the kind introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, certainly. Sharon, you told a joke about the Marine Corps. Now, I'm not going to ask for a show of hands from Marines here. I'm only going to say this all one time, so pay attention. I'm not going to say it as many times as Marines are in here. New Jersey, I mean, first, let me thank you all for your service, those veterans in the room. You sacrificed and served your country, served our country, and it's truly appreciated, more than maybe you know. But the state itself provides certain benefits, and I'm going to cover those briefly. Some of the federal benefits that are available, particularly VA health care, will be covered by Frank Quadrino in a little bit. And I'm just going to scan over our long-term care facilities because we have with us today the Chief Executive Officer of the Menlo Park facility, Joe Brandspiegel, who does a fantastic job, he and his staff there. If any of you volunteer over to Menlo, you know. So we have one of these long-term care facilities in Paramus, up in North Jersey, Menlo Park, with Joe Brandspiegel, and we have one down in Vineland, New Jersey. They're long-term care facilities, and veterans and their spouses and Gold Star parents really receive care that is second to none. So keep that in mind. Joe's got application forms out at the table. We have a table outside. Incidentally, there are, in addition to some newsletters from the homes, we have a veterans guide out there that you can pick up and take with you if you'd like. It kind of goes over all of the various benefits that are available that I'm not going to cover everything. So pick up one of these guides and get the information that's contained in there. We have 2 homeless veteran transitional housing programs in New Jersey. One is located down in Winslow Township in Camden County, and the other is located at Vets Haven North, what we call Vets Haven North in Hunterdon County. It's up in Glen Gardner. So we have those facilities. They're averaging 157 veterans at any given time. That fluctuates obviously day to day, but that's the average, and we're doing well there. It's unfortunate to say we're doing well in a homeless veterans facility. You wish there weren't any. And there are more. I mean, they're operated by Community Hope and Soldier On and stuff like that. So there are a number of veterans who are homeless in this state or who come to the state because they are homeless, and we care for them as to the best of our ability. We have the busiest state veterans cemetery in the country, located in Arneytown, New Jersey, North Hanover Township, just outside of the gates of the Joint Base McGuire-Dixon Lakehurst, where we're burying like 13 a day, 13 individuals, veterans a day, or their spouses, eligible spouses. So it's a busy place, and it's a well-maintained facility. If you ever have the opportunity to be there or get there, just to visit a grave or to see a veteran cemetery in action actually exist, do so, because it's really a wonderful facility that we operate there, and the staff is great. In addition to some of the facilities that we operate, we have a property tax deduction of $250 for our veterans, which is something that is a good thing. Not a lot of money, but it's a good amount, and if you are a veteran that qualifies, you should take advantage of it. I had a World War II veteran approach me after a ceremony down at the Cape May Aviation Museum back in 2011 or 12, somewhere around there, who lived in a house for 37 years and never knew about the property tax deduction. 37 years, and they won't go back. So please keep that in mind. If you're totally disabled from a service-connected condition, you will receive a total exemption from the township. And so the state and its communities are offering a benefit to veterans for their sacrifice and their service. In addition to that, you have civil service veterans preference. So if you apply for a state position or a municipality that participates in the civil service program, you can get preference if you are a veteran. And if you're a disabled veteran, you get absolute preference. So all you have to do basically is if the position requires a test, you have to pass a test if you're a disabled veteran. And if you're a veteran, you'll go to within the top 3. So it's a good thing. And again, it's in appreciation for your service and your sacrifice. We do medal presentations. We try and do one a month in the form of an outreach effort. We set it up at a mall. We do the ceremony, and then that's followed by 2 days of the presence of a veteran service officer. We have a network of veteran service officers covering all 21 counties. They are available to any veteran or his family or her family that requires assistance or has a question or concern about veterans' issues. They're available. All they have to do is call them. Now, in addition to that, you might say, well, that's great. You know, these benefits have been around for a long, long time. But the state, and particularly the state legislature, I should really thank them because they did a great job here. And the administration is owed a gratitude of debt, or a debt of gratitude for their support of the initiative, because it was signed. The legislation was signed. And one deals with a $3,000 property tax exemption, income tax exemption, I'm sorry, not property tax, income tax, for veterans. Now, you know, you wonder how this is going to all work out. Well, we're working very closely with the Division of Taxation in the Department of the Treasury to make this happen. So we're sharing information with them. Motor Vehicle Commission sharing information with them. They have set up a link on their website so that veterans can go on there and download their DD-214 and pre-register sort of for this benefit. And $3,000 will be taken right off of your income tax return, so from your income. So make sure your preparer knows that. So when you take your taxes in, you tell them you're a veteran. And that will, again, that's in gratitude for your service and your sacrifice. The other thing that's happening is a diversion program, a veterans diversionary program that's happening in the, and former Governor McGreevey might be interested in this, in the judicial system for veterans who become involved with that and might suffer from a mental health disease, primarily PTSD and TBI. So we can try and get that veteran, that individual, diverted away from the criminal justice system into programs that provide treatment and things of that nature that will make that individual get back on the rails and live his or her life, you know, the way the normal individual does, despite having suffered these mental health issues. So that's something else, again, that the state is offering in gratitude for your service. So all of these benefits that are available are in thanks for your service. So Assemblyman Coughlin is talking to Governor McGreevey back there, and they are so supportive of veterans. It's not funny. It's very serious. They take their responsibilities very seriously, and it's all good for the veterans, not only of Woodbridge, but of the state of New Jersey. So, again, let me just close by saying thank you for your service. Thank you for what you do. I'm going to be around here with Joe Brandspiegel until the end of the program and shortly after that. So if you have any questions or concerns, please let me know, and we'll be happy to help you in any way we can. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Ray. A little bit of housekeeping, which I should have done earlier, and it took Navy to remind me. Jack, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Would you lead us in the Pledge? Uncover, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Just a quick show of hands. Be seated. Quick show of hands. Army. You can sit down. Sit down, Army. Okay. Navy. I like that. Woo. Okay. Marine.
Hey! Bravo! Bravo!
Air Force. Air Force. Air Force. Wow. Coast Guard. Don't take that to heart, Mike. If you haven't figured it out yet, the head's all the way down there. For anybody not in the Navy or Marines, it's the bathroom. Is all the way down the end. Men on your right, ladies to the left. On the second deck, which, if you haven't, for those not in the Army, or in the Navy or the Marines, floor. After Ray, perfect time would be Joe Brandspiegel from the Menlo Park Veterans. Joe, there is not a better place for veterans than the Veterans Home. That place is unbelievable. Joe takes pride in making sure every veteran is taken care of. Joe, this is for the TV.
Good morning. Thank you for inviting me once again, John. Thank you very much. Sharon, thank you. Glad to be here. Let me just give you a quick synopsis as to what New Jersey Veterans Home is all about. We don't call ourselves a nursing home, okay? We are a very unique facility. We are a long-term care facility. We have things that nursing homes do not have. We have full-time physicians who work for us, and they are there full-time. This is their only job. We have a dental office. We do root canal, dentures. Our residents don't have to go to a dentist's office and sit there for 3 hours in the afternoon. We don't need to inconvenience them. We are a 312-bed facility, and we are 12 minutes from here. And I'm extending an invitation to you all, just in case you've never been to our facility. Please come and say hello, and we'll be happy to show you what we are all about. 132 acres of land. It's a big place. It's a beautiful place. Now remember one thing, we are a state facility as opposed to the VA, and we have representation here from the VA, from Lyons and East Orange. We are a state-funded facility. We have 3 facilities such as ours, as mentioned before. We are in Central Jersey. We have one in Bergen County, Paramus, and we have one in Vineland. Similar in size, 300 plus beds. Now, what do we do? Our only motto is serving those who served. That's what we do. This is strictly for veterans and their spouses, okay? If you are not a veteran, this is not for you. As you all know, a nursing home in the state of New Jersey, a private nursing home that is, costs approximately $100,000 a year. If you come to us as a veteran, I never ask how much money you have in the bank. That is not a criteria. There's a need, you serve your country, you deserve to be at our facility. We have many veterans who have absolutely no money. We have a so-called sliding scale system that we use. The more money you have, the more you pay. The less money you have, the less you pay. If you don't have any money, you don't pay anything, period. Very simple solution. Okay. We are very well staffed. I want you to know, as I mentioned to you, we have physicians 24/7. We have nurses, obviously. Social service, dietitians to make sure that you get the proper diet. It's not too salty, so we can watch you. We have psychiatrists, just in case. We have psychologists, just in case we need them. We have a full-time chaplain. We have a beautiful chapel, I want you to know. We also have a rabbi who comes to see some of the Jewish residents. We have 3 buses. We have 3 drivers. Our residents love to go to the casinos. They would love to go every single day if I could provide transportation. Unfortunately, we cannot. But we go to PA, we go to Atlantic City, we take them fishing. Thanks to some of you, they are always invited to go to luncheon by the veteran organizations. So we are a very, very busy and active facility. Rehabilitation, just in case you need physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy. We have a fantastic department to take care of your needs. Our industry is a very highly regulated industry. we are always under the microscope. We are being inspected by the Department of Health of the state of New Jersey and also the Veterans Health System. So we are inspected at least twice a year. They come in, all 12 of them, they stay with us for a week, maybe more, and they watch and observe, make sure that everybody's fingernails are cut, their skin is intact, and the care is good, because if it's not, then obviously we are in trouble. And I'm happy to say that our facility always passes inspection. Sometimes there are very minor deficiencies, which we usually correct practically the same day. And again, if you are in the area, if you've never been to our facility before, I'm extending an invitation to you all. Please stop by, take a look. I hope you don't need us, but if you do, we are there to help. Okay. I have 2 assistant administrators. As I mentioned before, we have 312 residents, and we have approximately 450 staff members to take care of the veterans' needs. That's all we do. We don't do anything else. We are always on call. We are always always there to help. I keep mentioning the fact that what I want from my staff is to make sure that the residents are being treated the way their own mother would like to be treated. Then I'm happy. We are not perfect, and I'm the first one to admit that. But I want you to know that I make sure that nobody goes home with a headache. And that goes for family members or whoever has an issue. There's always somebody there to assist them, to help them, to make sure that whatever issues come up is resolved on an expeditious manner. If there are any questions, I'll be happy to talk to you after this meeting. There are admission packages out there. If you would like to take one home, even if you don't need one, take one home just in case you do one of these days. One never know. I want you to know that we do have a 5-month waiting list. If anybody who wants to come to us tomorrow, that person will have to wait at least 4 to 5 months. Occupancy is usually 98, sometimes 99% full. Okay? Strictly for veterans, as I mentioned, we have many veterans who bring their wives. They stay in the same room. There are many veterans who don't want to stay in the same room anymore. So we give them a separate room. They don't want to be with their wives after 50 years. I can understand that to a certain extent. I want you to know we had a veteran who actually got married at our facility. Okay? Now they live together in the same room. We put 2 beds together, so they are happy. We have boyfriend, girlfriend also. Okay? Again, they would like to live together, and they do. So there's all kinds of interesting things going on at our facility. Remember, we are here to serve you. We thank you for your service. If I personally can be of any help to you, please don't hesitate to call. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joe. And again, if you have not been to the facility, take Joe up on that invitation, stop by. It's a fantastic facility, and the people there are unbelievable. The people that Joe recruited to work for are unbelievable. Jack and I worked feverishly to put this thing together, but we also had a third party in this who worked just as feverishly. He didn't just walk out, did he? Oh, no, good. And that's from the county. Doug Breen, who between the 3 of us, we spent hours, hundreds of hours on the phone organizing the event. Doug, if you would say a few words, please.
Thanks, John, and also maybe a couple of lunches in there also. Can anybody hear me? Okay, great. So yes, I'm the Veteran Service Coordinator for the County of Middlesex. I have staff of myself and Henry Busby. We're both part-time there, 4 days a week. I'm retired Marine Corps, so I was able to luckily segue into this job, which I love. I would do this job even if I wasn't getting paid for it, but don't tell anybody because I want to get paid, please. So thank you for your service, everybody. I'll just take about a couple of minutes to talk about our specific program here in the county. The freeholder Rios, who was supposed to come today, I guess he couldn't make it, came to us about 4 years ago and talked about how can we best help veterans in Middlesex County. He gave us $100,000, and we put together a program. It's called the Veterans Assistance Program. I have a little pamphlet here, and they're outside at the table there. I work in conjunction with the VFW, Mr. Bob Porter, if you want to stand up, Bob. He also runs a fund that we use to house homeless veterans. So this program specifically works with homeless veterans in Middlesex County. Yes, there are homeless veterans in Middlesex County. We have not eliminated homelessness. All it means when we say we have zero homelessness with veterans means there's a mechanism in place that if a veteran is homeless and comes to us, we can now work through the system. We have a way to get them housed and hopefully find long-term housing. So we have $100,000 that the freeholder allocated for that. It comes out of the Homeless Trust Fund, which is on the state level. We get a portion of that. So when a veteran comes into my office, they can be from, every case is different. I always stress this, every case is different. Whatever's going on in their lives, there's addiction issues, mental health issues, divorce issues, relationship issues. They're coming from another state. We've had people coming from Florida, Puerto Rico, places that were hard hit this year with the hurricanes that came to Middlesex and they needed immediate housing. There's many other agencies when somebody comes to them and they say you're not a resident of Middlesex County or New Jersey. We don't work that way. We work a veteran as a veteran served honorably, and so we're going to work with them and try to help them out in whatever the situation is. We will look at them. They have to have at least a general under honorable condition discharge for us to help them. They come in and we can work usually with, it's only for renters, it's not for homeowners, it's only for renters. If you're behind on your rent, you're about to be evicted, you're actually living in the streets, you're living in your car, and we've had veterans that are living in parks, in woods. They've been there for years, some of them. They come in and out, they come in for service and they go back out. But by and large, we can get them rehoused. We have a housing locator, that's Henry Busby. We work with two agencies that are outside. There's Community Hope and Soldier On that are funded by the VA, so we work in conjunction with them to put together a rescue package for that veteran. We can pay their first month's rent, maybe their second or third month's rent if need be. We can work and do security deposits, and we can help them find housing. We're the only, and I'm always amazed that when the freeholder talks about this, he goes around and talks about our program. He's very modest about it because we're the only county in the state that does this. Middlesex County is the only county, and in fact, we went down to Washington, D.C. 2 years ago, and we received an award down there because we're the only county in the country at that time that was doing this program, which is pretty amazing to me. And I still haven't heard, thank you, but it's really because of the taxpayers of the Middlesex County that makes this happen. So again, no case, we will think outside the box all the time. That's what we were taught in the military and the Marine Corps, especially think outside the box, make things happen. We make it happen. And so if you know of any veterans that are having issues with housing, Jack, you've already had a couple that you referred over that we're working on some issues. We will try to work with them. It is not a long-term program. It's not a subsidy. So veterans are very proud. Men and women come in and they're running into a hard time in their life. They don't want to ask for help. And we just say, you're not asking. This is not a charity. This is part of your package of benefit for serving our country. It's not charity. It's a hand up. It's not a handout. And it's very short term. It's designed to allow that veteran to get through that bad point in their life and get back on their feet again. And then, as I always tell them, if I see you on the street, you want to buy me a cup of coffee, that's great, but I don't ever want to see you in my office again. And most of them don't want to be there because it's tough for them. We've had veterans who come in that are crying because they're going through a rough time. And Bob and I say, and Henry, we just want to give them hope. If we have a veteran comes in and they come in with no hope, we want them to walk out with hope. And if we can do that, we've done something. The other thing I'll talk about, two things, and I'll get off here. We have a Veterans ID card that the county issues. We have pamphlets out there. Every county was mandated by the state to give a veteran's ID card to veterans that reside within the county. And people use it all the time. They get it confused with the VA card. There are no health benefits that are connected to it. It's just an ID card. Bob, you have yours on you? If you want to stand up and show people what it looks like. If you want to get that card, you need your DD-214. Bring that down to the county clerk's office on the 4th floor. Get your DD-214 recorded. Please get your DD-214 recorded. Not for yourself so much, but for your family members. We're all going to leave this earth someday. We know that. Some sooner than others, but there you go. And at the last moment, when people can't find your DD-214 and they need to get your benefits or your funeral costs or get your the honors for your funerals, they can't find it. If it's here at the county, they can always come here and get it. But you get that ID card also, and it's good on Veterans Day or anywhere, unless you want to carry your DD-214s around with you, which most of us don't want to do that. It's a pain to do that. Get the little card. I always ask wherever I go, do you have a veterans discount or military discount? Sometimes it embarrasses whoever I'm with because I do it all the time, but most people will give that 10% or 20%. New Jersey Transit gets 50% off to veterans on any kind of transit, so it's a good deal. So come down to the 4th floor, record your DD-214. It takes about 10 minutes. You'll get it. You have to come down to the county, though, because they will not come out. Unfortunately, they won't come out to the senior centers or the VFWs, the American Legions. They have a machine that they can't move, so it has to be done at the county, unfortunately.
Sir, quick question that might be pertinent for everybody. When you register for the card, does that register you for the state for the income tax issue?
That's a good question. I don't know. You'd have to call the clerk's office about that. I don't know. Couldn't. But the clerk's office, in this booklet, the number for the clerk is in there, and they'll be able to tell you. Yes, sir.
When I got my card from the county clerk, they also gave me a booklet with about 220 businesses that give discounts to veterans.
And so that goes right into my next point. Thank you. You could talk about this. So we got this booklet that the clerk put together. It's a nice booklet, nice green colors now. And this is not all-inclusive, and it may not be up to date. I think they publish this a couple times a year, but this is merchants in the county, or really nationwide, that give that discount to veterans. With your veterans ID card, you can use that. So we're out there at the table. Bob, did you have anything you wanted to add real quick? Okay, a minute. You got a minute, Bob?
Yeah, I'll talk real quick. I just wanted to emphasize one of the things that Doug talked about. He mentioned the national award that we got down in Washington, D.C. One of the things that, and that was the National Partnership Award for Homelessness. Now, that's one of the things that we do very well in the county. It's a partnership. Now, myself, Doug had mentioned the program that I have. Mine is not government money. This is monies that I raise from fundraisers with the VFW, with the American Legion, with the Elks, the Chamber of Commerce, raising funds for emergency housing. When if a veteran comes in, where typically they come in on a Friday afternoon at 3:30. All your agencies are closed. We got to get them housed, especially if the weather's bad. So we might put them up in a hotel for the weekend. That comes out of the monies that I raise. All right, and it's, again, one of the things that Middlesex County does very well is the partnership. We partnership in the private sector, business sector, and the organizations, and we'll work with anybody. That's all I had to say.
Thanks, John, where are you? John's here. There he is. I can't tap dance, so here you go.
Can you tell a joke?
Oh, God. No, don't. Not for public.
Yeah, we can't repeat any of Doug's jokes. They're off.
Doug's stories are not jokes, they're all true.
Yvonne Nelson, Florence Diaz from the Regional Veterans Administration. If you guys can come up and just a reminder that this is for the TV, so if you would project.
Where are they from, John?
Go ahead, ladies.
We're from Department of Veterans Affairs, Newark, New Jersey. Yay! Good morning, veterans, stakeholders, and those who are guests. Thank you, veterans, so much for your service, your courage, and your sacrifice to this country. I don't have a joke. I have a true story. After I graduated high school back in the day, I decided for ROTC, I'm going to sign up for the Army Reserve. So I went down to the recruiter. I did my test. I could go do anything I wanted to do because he said I did so well. Sergeant Brown, to be exact, I remember. This was the Bronx, by the way, Bronx, New York. And I passed all the tests. But he said to me, you did well, but you needed a height waiver. So I was too short to join, and my father was not agreeing to a height waiver because all I wanted to do was get an M16. That was so fascinating. And you know that's twice my side, right, Jack? Anyway, we're from the regional office that's in Newark, New Jersey, and I'm a voc rehab counselor. And this is the benefit side of the VA, by the way. Frank's Health, we're benefits. So Florence is going to talk about the compensation and pension side because it's way bigger than my small voc rehab. So here's Florence.
Good morning. I'm a Navy vet. Yeah. Okay, so on the compensation side of the VA, we provide compensation benefits to veterans, including pension benefits. Our mission is basically from President Lincoln, to care for him who shall have borne the battle, and for his widow and his orphan. Just piggybacking on that statement, if you are a veteran and you are 30% or more service-connected, you should have your dependents on your award, your children or your spouse. I should say, and your spouse. We keep your children on your award up until the age of 18 and up to the age of 23 if they're going to school. Some of the things that you need to know if you wanted to apply for a service-connected compensation would be to come to the VA. Don't listen to your buddy or your friends. Oh, it's just something that the VA is telling you about. You're not going to get anything. Who cares that you don't care? That we care about you. We want you to come. We want you to call. There is an 800 number that you can call to start the process, but I know a lot of you guys don't like calling and you want someone to come and you want to sit down and speak to someone. Please come to 20 Washington Place in Newark. Please come. I'm a veteran service representative. I eat, breathe cases all day, every day. I'm at your service. I will be here after we're done speaking, but I did want to tell you that you have to have an honorable discharge or a general under honorable conditions. If you have a dishonorable even, there are mitigating circumstances that we might be able to help you. There's something that's called a character of discharge determination. And we can grant you an honorable discharge for VA purposes so that you can get benefits. So it doesn't always end there. There are things that happen all the time to all of us. So I just want you to know I am here to provide a service to you because you are me, I am you. I look out for my vets as if you are my brother, my sister. Well, not my sister, but yeah, a relative. I just want you to know that the VA is here for you. And if you have questions about how to apply for benefits, what's the process, and you keep running into a wall, ask me. I'm here for you today. And if you know someone, allow them to call 800-827-1000, 800-827-1000, and they can direct you to the closest VA facility to you. Thank you so much for coming out today.
How's the parking in Newark?
The parking is scandalous. However, if you are a veteran that is receiving compensation, I believe you have to be 10% or more. Now you can apply for the disability plates, the disabled vet plates. I don't know all the particulars about it, but I got them. Yes.
Yeah, I got the Purple Heart hang tag. It's not a plate.
I have license plates.
But you can get both.
Yes, you can get both.
Free parking at any municipal parking meter or parking deck in New Jersey.
Isn't it great?
All you need to do with a service connection, but with any compensation. You can go into motor vehicle with your DD 214 or your award letter from VA, get either a Purple Heart hang tag or a disabled veteran hang tag, and you get free parking.
It's great. Mr. Ruiz, I'm going to hook you up. You want to know about that? Mr. Ruiz?
That microphone is on.
I don't know. Mr. Ruiz? Would you like me to help you with that? So when you come down, you can park and come and see me. Okay. Aye.
No, vocational rehabilitation and employment services is part of the benefit side of the VA. And any veteran who's service connected, no matter your discharge status, if you have service connection, you're eligible to apply for these services. Now, what services do we apply? People think vocational and they think school only. We also do what's called independent living services. So for veterans who may not be able to go to work because of medical issues, or for those who have retired, we have independent living services. An example, if part of your service connection is you have a bad back, and you're sleeping on a mattress that's not supporting you, we will get you a mattress. If you need something to do in the daytime, we call a vocational kind of activity. We'll provide whatever you need, whether it's a camera for pictures, whether it's a fishing rod, whether it's a golf club, anything so you can remain active in your community. Now, for those who are can go to school, we provide training, which means you can do vocational training, you can do college, you can do whatever certification you want, so you can become gainfully employed. The goal of Voc Rehab is to make sure that your service connection isn't aggravated by your work in any regard. So we help you to prepare, which is training, obtain, we have employment services, and for you to maintain suitable employment so your service connection is not aggravated. We pretty much serve about 2,000 veterans in the state of New Jersey. Voc Rehab serves the entire 21 counties. Unlike for compensation and pension, they serve the 14 northern states. We serve the entire 21 states. So we have our regional office, and then we have what we call out-base offices, where we have services out in, say, Toms River, out in Gloucester County, so we can reach all the veterans, so we can accommodate them more. So simply, it's an application. You won't know if you're eligible until you try. So if anyone's service connected at all, you can apply for the services. It's simple. I have applications. You fill it out. A counselor comes to your house if you need independent living services, and pretty much assess all the things that you need, and we'll pay for whatever. If not, there's also service through the health side, which call for the HISA, which they'll help you with modification if you need to widen your doorway, get a ramp, all those services we provide. And I must say that working in Voc Rehab, I've met with Doug a couple of times, and also Bob Porter, and we've had veterans who needed, because when Voc Rehab, we need to make sure that you have everything else in your life is okay. So if you don't have no place to live, or if you have other issues, then going to school is not going to be helpful. And Doug, I know I've met with him several times. He's actually helped one of my veterans get housing, pay for about 2 months of housing. One guy we met that was there, he was actually homeless from Vet Haven, is on his way to Ohio. Doug helped him with gas cards. He paid for a hotel for him to stay, and he also gave him those little food packets that he could just put in hot water. So thank you, Doug and Bob, for your service in Middlesex County.
Thank you. Get your pencils and papers out, because now you're going to be inundated with a wealth of information. Frank Quadrino from our Veterans Administration, New Jersey. Lots of good stuff here. This is for TV.
Okay. Thank you, John. Thank you, Doug, and thank you, Jack. And by the way, I just have to say this about Mr. McGreevy. About 5 years ago, he called me up, and he said, "Frank, I have some tickets to the Marine band that was playing up at Woodbridge High School. Do you remember that?" And he says, "I have 4 tickets." So I said, "All right, my wife and I would love it." And I have a neighbor who was a Marine living on my block, and he was thrilled to get it. So we took it, and we went, and Jack was there and everything like that. But I just want to let you know, a couple of weeks ago, my wife and I went to the see the Air Force Band at the State Theater. All right, so don't hold that against us, please. All right, Jack. Okay, but anyway, I want to thank everybody here who's put this event together. I think I've been coming. This is about the 8th or 9th year I've been here. I think last year it got canceled, if I'm not mistaken, or something like that. Okay, but I appreciate everything you folks have done to put this together. First and foremost, I too would like to echo everybody else's sentiment here for people who served in the military. You know, it's a very small percentage of you people that serve. Certainly, thank you for your service, and not only that, the family members who are family members of vets. You know, a lot of times you don't get the recognition. You know, I was looking. We were doing some work on our house, my wife and I was looking through my dad's old papers. And I came across his DD-214, his medical records, and so on and so forth. And my dad was 26 years old when he got drafted. They used to call him Grandpa. He was with all these 18 and 19-year-old kids. And my mom had a 3-month-old daughter. So she had to go. She couldn't stay in an apartment. Didn't have the money to pay the rent. So she had to move in with her mother. And so, as I say, I thank the family members also for your service also. With that being said, I'm going to talk about VA healthcare. Okay, and for those of you who are interested, outside on my table, there is a booklet that looks like this. This will tell you everything there is about VA healthcare. Everything, okay? But before I do that, I want to tell you about a few of the changes that have occurred since the last time I was here. First and foremost, you should know we have new leadership up at the VA healthcare, okay? Our director and associate director retired about 15, 16 months ago. We have a new director. His name is Mr. Vincent Amiti. We have a new associate director. Her name is Mara Davis. And we have another associate director. His name is John Griffith. John's been there a number of years at different capacities. So I think you should know that the leadership has changed up at the VA New Jersey healthcare system. Okay. Another thing that is relatively brand new, it actually started last Saturday, which was the 11th of November. From all the years I've worked at the VA, people would say to me, Frank, I'm not eligible for VA healthcare, so I can't get the VA healthcare card. Isn't there something the VA can do to give me another card that identifies me as a veteran? Well, guess what? Starting last Saturday, it got approved. And so anybody who's a veteran, okay, you're not enrolled in VA healthcare, either you're not interested or you don't meet the qualifications, and I'll get into that in a second, you now can go online and you could get a VA ID card. It's not going to grant you access to the healthcare system, but you know what? I know a lot of people need it. They want it for the 10% discount or something of that nature. You don't go up to the VA hospital to apply for it. You don't go to the regional office to apply for it. It's a website, www.vets.gov. You have to go on that website, okay? Another new thing that's happened in the past years, you know, the VA, we have our main facilities up at East Orange and Lyons, but we have clinics throughout the state of New Jersey. The one here that probably most of you use is probably the one in Piscataway. Anybody here use the Piscataway clinic? Okay. Well, we just put one up about 8-9 months ago up in Sussex County, up in Newton. So now we have 10 clinics that we have almost in every other county to make it easier for the veteran so that you're not traveling so far to see a primary care provider. And I also want to say that just in case you folks decide, if you're living here in Middlesex County, you're going to move up to Sussex County, there is a clinic up there, and I think it opened up in January or February of this year, okay? There are new prices on our prescriptions. That changed in February of this year. We used to charge you either $8 or $9 for a 30-day supply of medication, for those folks who pay for the medication, okay? Well, now it's either $5, some of the medications went down, $8, or $11. So we tiered it. If it's a generic, it's either going to be $5 or $8. If it's a name brand, they're going to charge you $11 for a 30-day supply. If it's a 90-day supply, just go 5 times 3 is 15, 8 times 3 is 24, 11 times 3 is 33. So that's how they do that, okay? Another change, I think I was here about 3 or 4 years ago, and I told you about a program that MetLife and Delta Dental had started with veterans who were enrolled in the VA healthcare system. They wanted to give you a reduced rate dental plan because it's very difficult to get dental up at the VA. If you're not 100% service connected, or if you're not service connected for your mouth or your jaw, or if you're not on Voc Rehab, you're not getting dental up at the VA. So MetLife and Delta Dental said, you know what, we want to help the veterans. So they said, you folks can get a reduced rate dental plan. You don't go up to the VA dentist, you use the dentist in your area. However, in January of this year, they stopped it. They weren't taking new veterans. I got a phone call about a month ago from MetLife and Delta Dental saying they're going to start it again. They think they're going to start it December 1st of this year. So for you veterans who are enrolled in the VA healthcare system, you want to get a reduced rate dental program, and let me tell you, folks, as you get older and you need dental care, dental coverage is very, very expensive. I would look into it. It's in this book. It's got their website, their phone numbers. They each have about 3 or 4 different plans. I highly suggest you look into that. Okay? Another change that's occurred in the last year or so, where I know there are a number of folks who raised their hand. They were in the Marines. Go ahead, raise your hand again. Okay. Any of you folks over at Camp Lejeune for 30 days or more, back from anywhere from 53 to 87? No? If you were, I would go up, yeah. If you were, I would go up to the VA, and because there are about 14 conditions now that they think are related to the dirty water, and the VA will now start seeing people who are in the Marines who are located at Camp Lejeune for at least 30 days active duty from, I think it was January 53 to July or August of 87. Okay, that's a new thing also. Yes?
It's 50 to 53.
No, 53 to 87.
Keep on changing
No, I'm telling you, it's 53 to 87. Okay? You should be happy. We extended the dates. 53 to 87, that's 50, 60, that's over 30 years. Okay? So, last change I want to tell you about. As you know, or maybe you don't know, in order to be eligible for VA health care benefits, you have to have an honorable discharge or under honorable conditions. One of the things that has recently changed, the VA wants to help veterans who have mental health issues and some of the veterans who have been sexually abused in the military. So now even those veterans, even if they don't have an honorable discharge, if they come to us with an OTH, the VA will now treat them. They will not send them away and say, look, you don't have an honorable discharge. Now, they may not be eligible for all the other benefits, like the flu shot, the eyeglasses, and so on and so forth, but we're not going to send away somebody who has an OTH that is suffering from a mental health issue or has reported some sort of sexual misconduct while they were in the military. And this is something new also that the VA just recently started, I think within the last couple of months. Okay, so I just want to let you know about that. So let's talk about VA healthcare. VA healthcare, who's eligible? That's the first thing. Not everybody who served, even if they have an honorable discharge, unfortunately is eligible for VA healthcare benefits, okay? There are groups of veterans that are automatically eligible. Anybody here a Purple Heart recipient? Okay. No, Purple Heart is automatically eligible. Anybody here service-connected vet, disabled vet, you're automatically eligible. I hope you folks are registered. Vietnam in-country vets, any Vietnam? You're eligible, no questions asked, okay? Gulf War veterans, any Gulf War vets? Gulf War vets eligible. OEF, OIF vets? Okay, you folks are enrolled in VA? Okay, good. So that leaves people who served World War II, Korea, Cold War. What happens to them? Well, unfortunately, their eligibility is based on their family income. Now, the good news is, up until 3 years ago, it was based on their family income and assets. The VA did away with the assets. So, if you were like my dad, who was a World War II vet, he was in the Army from 43 to 46, he worked 3 jobs. He made sure he saved a lot of money. He had 4 kids. So, someone like my dad probably would not have been eligible if he was still living for VA healthcare because his assets were a little bit higher than the asset threshold. But now that we did away with the asset threshold and basically he was getting a pension from the city of New York and Social Security, he would probably be eligible if he were living today. So that opens up more veterans to utilize the VA. And just to give you an idea what that financial threshold is, by the way, it does change from state to state and it changes from county to county. I'll give you an example. This is Middlesex County. For a single veteran, I think it's something like $42,000. For a married veteran, it's $61,000. However, even if you're a little bit over that, I encourage veterans to fill out the application, because what you don't know is there's another box on that application. The VA wants to know how much money did you and your spouse spend last year out-of-pocket medical expenses. And that even includes premiums. Blue Cross, Aetna, Medicare Part B, Part D. We'll take that number, we deduct that from your income. And a lot of times that's what makes veterans eligible for VA healthcare benefits. So I suggest you fill it out anyway. Go up to Lions VA with a copy of your DD-214, Building 3 eligibility, fill it out. And even if you're over the threshold by a considerable amount, I would also suggest you fill it out anyway. Here's why. Because we put you in our computer base, and we'll say not eligible. However, there are, I don't know if I want to say rumors, reports, whatever, we're hearing some stuff that the criteria for eligibility for VA may change, right? We have a new president, new Congress. They say they're going to treat veterans better. And we're hearing that, you know what, they may relax that income threshold or maybe increase it a lot. So if we have you in our computer base as not eligible, and now we see your name and your phone number in there, and we have your address, and now we know you're eligible, we're going to send you a letter, say, hey, they just changed their criteria for VA healthcare. You're now eligible if you want to come to us. So even if you know you're not eligible, fill out the application anyway. Go up the lines with a copy of your DD-214. Okay? How many of you are actually registered with the VA healthcare system? Raise your hand. Wow. Great. Great to see that. So you would know that the first thing you got to do is get yourself a primary care provider at the VA. The primary care provider at the VA controls your health care. And what do I mean by that? If you want to see a specialist at the VA, if you don't have a primary care provider, you're not going to see a specialist. Those are the veterans that have a difficult time saying, why did it take me 9 months to see a cardiologist? And I say, well, did you have a primary care provider? What's that? It's your family doctor. When I was growing up, my parents called it the family doctor. We called it the primary care provider. That's your main doctor that gives you the flu shot, does your blood test, does your EKG sometimes, things of that nature. Those are the people. I know there were a couple of people who raised their hand and said they go to Piscataway. That's who you're seeing. You're seeing a primary care provider at that Piscataway clinic, because the Piscataway clinic, like all our other clinics, well, most of our clinics, they don't have specialists. If you need to see a specialist and you go to Piscataway Clinic, they're going to send you to either Lions or East Orange. Okay? So you want to have that primary care provider at the VA. Doesn't mean you can't have a primary care doctor on the outside. All we're saying is make sure you have a primary care doctor at the VA if you intend to use the VA for other services. Okay? Like a cardiologist, podiatrist, urologist, physical therapist, occupational therapist, so on and so forth. Okay? First thing I would do after I see my primary care doctor, at whether you see it at the main VA or one of the clinics, tell them you want to have your eyes examined by a VA optometrist. Why is that? Every single one of you registered the VA, you're entitled to free eyeglasses. And my understanding now, you're getting a free pair every year. Is that true? Even if your eyes don't change, you're getting a free pair every year. And I know which is due. 2 pair? Yeah.
I just got a letter saying last year.
Yeah.
Call up for another appointment.
Now, at one point, and again, I've been at the VA a very long. Matter of fact, I just passed my 41st year, my 41st anniversary at the VA, and I remember back in the day, they wouldn't give you, like, if you went for an eye exam last month and you go next year, they say your eyes didn't change. We're not going to give you another pair, but now they do, and I know what you do, and that's okay. What you do is you take one pair, you put it at your daughter's house, you take another pair, you put it at your son's house, take another pair, put it in your car, take another pair, put it in your office, and that's okay. The VA says that's okay. We're going to allow that. So get your eyes examined every year. Get a free pair of eyeglasses. And it's not, a lot of people say, well, what do you have, 2 or 3 a pair of frames? No, that's not the case. We have a number of frames that you could choose from, okay? I know they get bifocals and so on and so forth also, if it's medically indicated, okay? Here's another thing that has changed probably in the last 8-9 years. Back when I first started at the VA, if you wanted hearing aids, you got to be service connected. Now, non-service connected veterans, if you fail the audiogram given by the VA audiologist, you're getting free hearing aids at the VA. Folks, minimum $5,000 savings. Minimum $5,000 savings. And my understanding is there's not an insurance company in the world that will pay for it. Yes, sir.
There is a drawback to that.
Go ahead, sir.
Okay. When you get the hearing aids, they're going to tell your wife that she can get a microphone they can clip on her blouse and goes right into the hearing aid. And I told them there's not a living man in this world that's going to allow that.
Actually, some of the hearing aids that the VA does give out, I've seen some of the vets with them. They have this thing that hangs around their neck, and they can control the volume. Like if the phone is too low, or if the TV is too low, or something like that. And by the way, 4 or 5 years later, they'll get you a new pair. You need batteries. VA will get them, pay for them. Okay? Yes. Oh, is that it? Oh my God. So this is you could control the volume with this? Wow.
See if he's turned it
on. Turn it off.
Yeah, I don't blame you. What do you want to listen to me for? Yes.
Can I get a replacement and get the same thing, or would they give me a different? In other words, if I have a problem with this.
If you have a problem with it, first you have to go up to the audiology department up at the VA. Yeah, they could probably fix it. Yeah, they'll send it away. Just have you needed to get batteries yet for your hearing aids? And they send away, right? They send away to, I think, Colorado, is it, or something like that?
Yeah, somewhere.
Yeah.
I send them away for batteries.
Yeah, but you don't pay for them, right? No. Okay, just want to make sure. The VA is paying for that. Okay? All right. Another thing. Yes, sir.
They'll give you new ones after 2 years.
Are you kidding me?
That's what they told me.
Wow.
But he's Army, so you're confused.
It used to be 5, then they went down to 4. If they're going back down to 2, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. Okay? Yes.
Greg, I want to go back to something you said earlier.
Sure, Bob.
Change the subject on it. I get a lot of people coming in that lost their veteran ID card, or they have an old one that should be replaced. Who do they go for that?
Great question. A lot of veterans, you're right, they have the old VA ID card. It's red, white, and blue. We started doing a new one about 3 years ago. It's a blue card. By the way, the reason why we started to do the new card, just to let you know, we weren't trying to make life difficult for you. That red, white, and blue card, there were some crooks out there. They were taking their iPhone and clicking over that card, and there was a barcode. It's got your date of birth and your social security number. They were stealing your identity. So we found out about it. It was on Channel 4 News about 3 or 4 years ago. So we changed the barcode. We gave it out a different. Anybody have the blue VA ID card? Perfect, sir. Do you mind if I show it? Okay. This is the newest card. If you don't have this, just go up to Lyons VA, Building 3. You don't need an appointment. Eligibility. Say, you know what? I'm in the system. Here's my name. Here's my last 4. I either never got this card or I lost it. Can I get a new card? They may have to retake your picture, and you usually get it within 2 weeks. Thank you, sir. This is the newest card.
Also,
Yes.
I have problems hearing. There's a phone that you get from a VA with caption.
The caption phone. Yes. Yes. That's great. Yeah. Yeah. That is the new one, sir. You're good. Yeah, you're good. And by the way, whether or not you have a card, I mean, if you don't have a card and you're registered with us, we're not going to say, oh, you can't see our doctor today. No, I mean, it's just something that we give to you, to help you identify yourself as a veteran. It's not mandatory that you have the card to utilize the VA services, okay, as long as you're in our system, okay? I just told you eyeglasses, hearing aids, dental, I told you, very difficult to get free dental at the VA. You got to be 100% service connected for your mouth or your jaw. Maybe when Mr. McGreevy was in the Marines, one of his buddies hit him with the butt end of a rifle, knocked his jaw out of place. He filed a claim for disability, and Jack would be able to get free dental at the VA. Yeah, and you didn't hear it. I said Voc Rehab. You were out of the room, young lady. But I do know if you're on Voc Rehab, you can get free dental also at the VA. Okay? Yes.
Regarding the doctor at the VA versus having your own primary, What they want, though, is all the information from whatever doctors you're going to outside of the VA.
Correct. Correct. This woman is absolutely correct. If you're seeing a private doctor on the outside and you're seeing a VA doctor, we want to make sure they're both on the same page. We don't want the VA doctor giving you 80 milligrams of simvastatin and your private doctor giving you 40, and they don't know about it. You know, so this young lady is absolutely right. You have to let the VA doctor and the private doctor know, hey, I'm seeing two doctors. I want to make sure that your opinions are basically the same. Now, sometimes here's where the problem arises. You may get two different, hey, look, it's just like bringing your car in. You bring your car into 4 different mechanics, you're going to get 4 different, am I right? Let's be honest. Sometimes when you go see 2 or 3 different doctors, it's happened to my wife. She had back surgery, hospital special surgery. She went to a doctor in Princeton. They gave her one evaluation. The guy in New York said, no, honey, you don't have to have that. I can do. So my point is, not every doctor, it's not an exact science. So sometimes you're in a situation where you have a private doctor and a VA doctor, and they're saying, you know what? I think your private doctor's wrong, or the private doctor says, I think that VA doctor's wrong. Then you got to make a choice. You know what I'm saying? It's not exact science. Yes.
If you haven't been to the VA for a couple of years,
Go ahead.
do you have a problem?
Do I have a problem? No. No. No, I don't know. Here, you don't have a problem, but here's what's going to happen, sir. Great question. So let's say he's in the VA. He's been using the VA, but he hasn't gone for 3 or 4 years. And now, as Jack's son, Jim, said, now something comes up. Well, you need something quick. You hurt yourself and you need a cane. VA is going to say, I haven't seen him in 4 years. I'm not giving it to him. I need to see him. If you've been seeing your primary care doctor once a year and they see that maybe you're regressing or you need certain things, you just call them up and say, yeah, no problem. What's your first name? Stuart. Don't worry about it. Don't even bother coming in. I'm going to write the order for you, and we'll mail you the cane or something of that nature.
That's why I'm asking. I just had a cataract removed.
Okay.
And I've been going to this doctor.
Okay.
Now, if I just get the results I can go there with the results instead of getting glasses from him?
Yes, you can. Okay. Yeah, and you should actually see our optometrist just so they know that you had a cataract surgery. Okay? But, you bring up a really good point. I suggest veterans who are enrolled in the VA go once a year. The most it's going to cost you to see a primary care doctor at the VA is $15. That's if you have to pay. Most veterans don't pay. And don't forget, we don't charge a premium. Talking about benefits at the VA, we're not like Medicare Part B, Aetna, AARP, where every quarter you're getting a bill, even if you don't go see a doctor, right? We don't do that to veterans. There's no premiums, there's no deductibles, and very few of I'd say about half the veterans have copays. It's $15 for a primary, $50 for a specialist, and $5, $8, and $11 for prescriptions. That's it. Those are the only numbers you have to worry about at the VA. Yes, sir.
You get $7.45 if you drive down.
Okay, so you must be service connected then. You're getting travel pay, right? Okay. It's there. Certain veterans do get travel pay also. So sometimes you're getting paid to go see $7.45. This he knows the number. Yes, right.
Doesn't the VA, once you're enrolled, count toward the Affordable Care Act?
Thank you. I appreciate you bringing that up. Exactly. That's another benefit being enrolled in the VA. A lot of times now we're getting veterans that come up to me and say, oh, I heard, President Trump did away with the Affordable Care Act. So, no, he didn't. Affordable Care Act is still in effect. If you're enrolled in the VA healthcare system, we meet the standards of the Affordable Care Act. So you don't have to go out and get a Blue Cross or an Aetna or anything of that. The federal government cannot fine you. And if you do get a letter in the mail, you make a copy of that VA ID card, you mail it back to the federal government and say, hey, you can't fine me. I do have health care coverage through the VA. So I appreciate you bringing that up, Ray. We meet the standards of the Affordable Care Act. Okay? Other things I want to just talk about. Where's John? How much time do I have? Because I don't... Well... 2 minutes? Okay.
No, I have a question, sir.
Yes.
A lot of my Navy veteran friends
Yes.
have mental health problems.
Right.
Because we have to deal with the Marines.
I'll call your office to get some help.
Okay. Prosthetic devices. If you've been going to a VA doctor once a year and you need any prosthetic, when I say prosthetic devices, I mean prosthetic shoes, socks, wheelchair, walker, cane. Some veterans have hypertension. The VA will give them for free a blood pressure kit. Anybody have sleep apnea? Good. If you did, the VA will give you a free, it's called a CPAP machine. On the outside, it's $500. We give it to you for free. Okay, but if you don't use the VA, if you're using the VA once every 3, 4, 5 years, the VA's going to make life a little difficult for you. I'm going to tell you that right now. As Jack's son said, use your benefits. Okay? And let me just say this. A lot of veterans will say, and my own father did, okay? He broke his finger and, never filed a claim. He went throughout life never being able to bend his finger. And you know what he would say to me? I was lucky. I came back with all 10 fingers. Leave it for the ones who need it, he would say to me, okay? But here's the way the VA budget works. Right now, we have over 9 million veterans using the VA. That may not sound like a lot because there's 21 million veterans, but keep in mind, 20 years ago, we had 2.3 million veterans using the VA. And back then, I think there were 24 million veterans, okay? If our numbers go up to 10 million every year, we're a cabinet level of the federal government, the VA. The gentleman Shulkin sits there every morning, and at the end of the year, they're going to say, how many veterans enrolled in the VA? How many are using it? We're up to 10.5 million, Mr. President. We got to increase the budget. He's not going to say, well, we're going to have to take away from the ones who don't need it. That's how the budget gets raised, by the number of veterans who are registered and using the VA. Don't think that you're taking away from another veteran that may need it. I admire that in your thinking. However, that's not the way it works, believe me. Last thing I want to talk about, I send a lot of vets to the state-run nursing homes. Why is that? We have a nursing home up at the VA. We have a lot of long-term programs up at the VA. Very difficult to get into ours up at Lyons. We have a nursing home up there. We call it Community Living Center. You have to be rated at least 70% service-connected in order to get into our nursing home. And by the way, the spouse doesn't get into our nursing home unless, just to let you know, at least there, the spouse can get in. It's for the veteran only. But you know what you pay? $0. As Joe was saying, average price, $100,000. Up at Lyons VA, you don't pay anything. Okay, but you have to be rated at least 70%. We have an Alzheimer's unit, we have a rehab unit, we have all that stuff. I don't want to, it's almost 11:30. I'll be here. I have a table outside. If you have any questions, please come out and speak to me. I'll be more than happy to answer any question you may have. And again, I thank you for your service. Oh, I'm sorry. You have a question?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
I'm just in need of an MRI, and I just went to East Orange, and I'm claustrophobic. I can't go into that cylinder. Is there any option?
Yeah, it's called what they call the choice program or fee basis. Fee basis is when the VA will send you to an outside provider and pay for the services, but you're going to have to get that approved by who's your VA primary care provider? In Piscataway. I would speak to her. Is it Dr. Nala Mamali? Okay. I would speak. I can't say it either. Speak to her. She may have to write you a prescription on the outside. Okay. And then you can go to an outside. Yeah. Yeah.
If you don't mind, can we hold the questions let Frank get done with explaining everything he has, and then you're going to be out here?
I'm going to be outside. Yeah. So I already told them that. Yeah. Okay.
Excellent.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Thanks, John. I appreciate you having me. No, it's always a pleasure to be here.
Fantastic.
Every year, our best
Absolutely. Okay, before you guys rush out and attack Frank and Joe and Ray and Ivis Molina, if you would, and then you guys can have at the tables.
Hi, so I'm Detective Ivis Molina. I was a Marine. I served in the Marine Corps for 8 years. So I was chosen to be the representative for the Veterans Diversion Program in Middlesex County for the prosecutor's office. So what I'm here to do is just kind of explain and just trying to get the word out there. We will have a diversion program starting December 1st, 2017. All of my officers in Middlesex County, once they arrest someone, they have to ask them their veteran status. If they say they're veterans, it's not up to them to say, well, you're lying or you're not. They will forward that name up to me. I will verify with Lions, with Mark Corial, if they were in the service or they were not, and then we will forward them into this program, which is a mental health, addiction. We're working with Rutgers, Princeton Health. A lot of people want to help, especially because a lot of my defendants are dishonorable discharges and can't get help from the VA. So I have to go through the private sector, but if in any case I get someone, we all knew that person that was a great service member and then gets out and gets in trouble and you're completely shocked. But a lot of these veterans are having a lot of addiction problems and mental health issues. So what we're trying to do is help them out. We're working with the county, with Doug Breen and Bob, if they need, if they're homeless, to try to get their life together. So it's a whole program. At the end of the 2 years, if they do great and they pass the program, they complete it successfully, all the charges get dismissed. They don't have to go through courts. They don't have to expunge anything. Just dismissed, like it never happened. So, yeah. So a lot of the counties in New Jersey already started it with the mental health program, and what they did is they just put veterans in there. Middlesex does not have a mental health diversion, so we're starting with the veterans, and then we will try to expand to the mental health diversion program. But for now, I'm here because I need mentors. The part of the program is they have to meet with a mentor. We're trying to get Marines with Marines, Navy with Navy, and it's problematic because my defendants are very young. And I need someone that's age appropriate, and this is a volunteer program. Middlesex County did not get any grants, did not get any money for this, so it's going to be volunteer. I will have to train them. I will have to run background checks, all that stuff. So that's where it gets a little bit complicated. But I'm happy to do this. I'm very, very, very committed to this, and so hopefully we get something in the works very soon. That's all. If you have any questions, I have a table outside.
Thank you very much. Jack, do you have anything before we let these guys and gals loose? Okay. Questions? Everybody who spoke is going to be outside. Fire away. The tables are there. Ladies and gentlemen, have a good afternoon.
Thank you, John.